2022 Endurance eRacing World Championship brought to you in partnership with Viper Gaming by Patriot, Aztec Sim Sports, Global Flix, Motorvision.tv, Sten Goldman, ESTV, and Film Vault Limited.
Just think about the fun things you do online. Diving into movies you love. Shopping. Enjoying free Wi-Fi with your morning coffee. Wait, who's that guy? Meet the Digital Snooper. It can be your internet service provider peeking at what you do online, or a cyber criminal on a mission to snitch your credit card info, or a hacker at the next table trying to steal your sensitive data. Uh-oh. But don't worry. NordVPN keeps all these snoopers away. It makes your internet activity private, protects you from accessing dangerous websites, and lets you enjoy your favorite content securely, even while away from home. The best part? It's just a click. Yep, internet security is that easy.
You can get NordVPN today at a 60% discount by visiting gtr24h.org/VPN. Racing for Green is here to help you carbon neutralize your racing. By planting new trees, Racing for Green offers to make your racing carbon neutral. We already have the calculations, contacts, infrastructure, deals and solutions ready for you to easily buy carbon neutral laps on any racetrack. It doesn't matter if you are a racing fan, team owner, driver, sponsor or partner. Anyone can buy CO2 neutral laps in the Racing for Green webshop and trade CO2 emissions for New Forest. Racing for Green.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the EEWC round number 4, 12 hours of Interlagos. We are 2 hours in, and there is your GTE leader on screen. The DIS Sim Racing Man Porsche leads. Oh, have we lost one? Oh no, what's happened to the 717? Nikolai Bezrukov seems to have had a disconnect of some description. We'll come back to him in a minute. The number 74, the duties car, has changed hands. Joel Barbosa now has hold of the 74 car. What can he do in the mighty Aston? We will see. But there is Bezrukov. The car is not in session. Oh no, that was qualified so well. With Sunyo led the GTEs. Hopefully we'll see the 717 return to us. Nikolai Bezrukov with a disconnection issue of some description. There's a Ricardo Pera, who also had a disconnect early on, but as you can quite clearly see, is back in the 53 Mustang Pescara car. Leading GT3 is still Alex Zescher for Azatec Sim Sports in the 585 car. He's got a couple of GTEs in between himself and Jakub Kowalski, who now has the 404 Glam Racing car. Callum Wilson started that one and has now handed that over. Leading the LMP2s is Jansen Bentz in the Juices car. Oh, something that's hard. So this is what happened to the 717 car. So that's the Azatec Audi already ahead. What happened to Bezrikov? Oh, too hot, too hot, too hot. Yeah. Ah, it's going to hit the wall. Oh, huge hit to the wall there. So too deep into Decido Delaco has caused the car to be returned to the garage. Oh. Knee-jerk reaction, hit escape. Is that car not able to rejoin us then? Oh dear. We may well have lost the 717. There are rules against doing that sort of thing. You can do it in practice, you cannot do it in the race. So that car may not be returning to us. Following that mistake from Nikolai Bezrikov out of pure habit, then his escape that could well take the car completely out of the race. That is the rule. That's always been the case. So it's only all season that's been the case. So oh no, that's just great shame. That's great potential in that 717 BMW. So you never want to see it, and that is very much our first victim. We thought the Master Pescara car was out, but they, as you can quite clearly see, they had a lag moment, and that was a disconnect rather than a voluntary action. So they are back with us. The first to fall looks like it's going to be the 717 of Unison Racing. That's a great shame. Great shame indeed. But still plenty for us to talk about. Jesper Pedersen in the Bercy Squad number 18 leads the way in DPIs by a long way. He's a good 40 seconds ahead of the LMP2s. That is now being led by Sem9 Axel. Nakib Aslan now actually has the class lead. Now we saw Cameron Roger in the number 94 car get passed by Nakib just before we went to the commercial break. That gap is now 25 seconds because Cameron Roger is in. So the Juices car has been handed over. That's now Darius Andre, who was one of the qualifiers of the car. The Juices car is now in the hand. There it is, number 15 car in the hands of Darius Andre. He's caught the back of the sister car. That is Joao Barbosa. Excuse me, Joao Barbosa in second place in GTEs. There's Cameron Roger in the picture-in-picture for Burst. And I can't quite read the number on the sides. I'm not sure. I think it's about 30 seconds he's been stationary for. So we'll see if that's a longer stop. Is Darius Andre going to get ahead of Burst? I would say so. Yes, he's... Oh, that's close between the MCM, not the MCM car, that's the Master Pescara car. But now Cameron Roger gets underway, so a full service for the Burst number 94. And Darius Andre back up into second position then with Nakib Aslan signalling to come into the pits. Yes, he has come in. So now Sem9 Axel have come into the pits, but they have been absolutely rapid for quite some time. What can Darius Andre do? So fresh driver behind the wheel now. Better see what they are capable of. Bit of a gap to close in, but certainly nothing insurmountable. There is Nakib Aslan. Now the yellow number on the side of the car is how long they have been in the pit stop for. Now in the pit lane, that's how long they've been in the stall for. So if it hits around about 53 seconds plus, then they've had new tyres on. If it's anything substantially less than that, it's only fuel. We'll keep an eye on what he's able to do there as we see Darius Andre working his way through the lap. He's on his way. He's gone through Junshao. That's a fresh set of tyres going on the LMP2 leader. 53 on the nose. And Darius Andre should come out ahead of Nakib Aslan, which he does, but how much by is going to be the question. Now Aslan is off the pit lane speed limiter. We are going to have, not at the moment, we are going to have an LMP2 fight though, because they are not far apart at all. There is Andre, look to the right, there is Aslan. My word, that is close. Considering that Nakib Aslan didn't, well, sorry, the Sem9 Axel team didn't qualify the car, And at the start of the race, once Nakib had worked his way through the GT field, he was some 20 seconds off the class lead. Now, with a similar pit stop strategy to his contemporaries, he's only 2.5 seconds behind. That's only just because he got caught out by the Azatec Audi, which, again, Alexander Sesha did nothing wrong. He just happened to be awkwardly placed for the LMP car to come through. Once again, the LMP2 lead is going to get fiery, and Darius Andre, he's straight into the 120s, 120.888 for him last time around, which is very much in the lap time realm of Nakib Aslan. So, that's going to be a challenge. Damien Scovron now has the number 94 car, so Damien was one of the main qualifiers of that car. Yellow flag. Sesha! That's Alexander Sesha's in trouble. It's him that's caused the yellow flag. Our GT3 leader has had a moment somewhere. I'm guessing that's going to be around Peronino, or in between Peronino and Bica de Pato, looking at where the tracker was. So a bit unfortunate for him. We'll see if production's able to catch up with what happened with him. But Aslan now dances around the Gadget Hooter car. Here is, there is Alexander Sesha, so coming through turn one. So obviously well after his issue. What's the lap time difference between our LMPs? So, well, that's it wouldn't be fair to read into that, as of course that's Nakib Aslan's outlap. 1:21.0 for Andre though. So this is what happened to Alexander Sesha. So it was after where I thought it was. Nothing too dramatic. Half spin? No, it would have cost him a fair amount of time though. No impacts, fortunately, just a tiny bit of lawn mowing on the exit of Mugello, then put him off a little bit coming through Junshao. Cost him time, but did not cost him position. He's still comfortably ahead of the GT3s by, quite some distance, but I think that's because Jakub Kowalski in the 404 Glam Racing cars recently just taken that one over. So the pit stop strategy is a bit different in our GT3 field, which is fine. Of course, each team has their own plan on when to pit and how long for. It doesn't always match their competitors. But Nakib Aslan on the right hand side, so that's the LMP2 lead, with Alexander Sesha on the left hand side, our GT3 leader. In he comes. So that's why he's got a comfortable lead in the GT3s, because he's pitted slightly later than his classmates. So I wouldn't be surprised actually if Alexander hands that car over. He started in that Audi, so it could be a time for a driver change for the Azatec car. But look at Aslan, right on the case of Darius Andre. With the 404 car just minding his own business. That's getting very, very close. Jakub Kowalski, again, doing the right thing, just staying predictable, just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. There's Angel Banegas, who's been in the MCM Motorsport car since the start, and still continuing on his merry way. There we go, there's our LMP2 lead with the DIS Sim Racing Porsche. That's the GTE leader. They've just gone past. Good 47-second lead for the Porsche. Now what can Aslan do here? He's hustling, and he's hustling hard. Thought about an inside maneuver coming into turn one, but the door just got closed by Juices just in time. Down through the center S's. Now this is a great opportunity for Aslan. He's got the run on Darius then, as the GT3 lead now in the hands of Jakub Kowalski. Juices still hold on to the LMP lead, and now Aslan going wide there. That's Desida Delago just to prevent an issue from arising, but Jakub Kowalski for Glam Racing now takes over the GT3 lead from Azatec. That's now in the hands of Adesio Neto, who was in the evening qualifying session. There's about 17 seconds to the 404's favour, so there's been a pit stop difference there, or thereabouts, because Azatec have led that class all race long thus far. But Aslan is very, very keen to get into the lead of the LMP2s. For Sam 9 Axel, and you can't blame him, they're the LMP2 championship leaders at this point in time, but only 1 point ahead of the burst car that is behind them, and 15 points ahead of the car they're hustling, Deuces. So you can see why that Aslan is keen to get on with the job. He's done a fantastic effort in that car to start right at the back and now be challenging for the class lead. Great stuff there. He's too far back to do anything this time, so he's just going to have to just bide his time this time around and see what he is able to do. Just looking to see if we have any other close battles. The Gadget, Husa and Azatec cars are close together because Neto... Whoa, that was close. Aslan didn't even flinch. That was amazing. There's no change in his facial expression whatsoever. I'd have a face of someone sucking a lemon if I was that close to someone. I would absolutely go, whoa, you know, complete panic. Absolutely nothing phasing Naqib Aslan, even kicking the tail out slightly on the number 21 car there. Brilliant stuff. Are you in destiny for the pits? No, because they've recently been through the pits. So this is just an all-out war for the top spot. And you've got to think that whilst the 79 Axle car could afford, strictly speaking, to come in second, they'd still be championship leaders. No team ever settles for second if they, certainly this early in an endurance race. But fair play to Darius Andre, doing exactly what he needs to do to keep Aslan behind him. And it doesn't look like that Aslan is just going through the motions. He looks like he's trying to hustle for the position. Although that time around, coming down to Tacita Dargo, does look like he was just biding his time. Didn't look like he was wanting to make the move. So continuing on his merry way quite nicely there. Ooh, it's from that angle it looked like the tail got loose there on the 21. We've seen that 79 Axle guy get very squiggly at various points. Oh, I just had a message. That message coming from Alexander Sesha. He wants to come and have a chat to us. That would be fantastic to do. We did have a chat with Alexander yesterday. And there he is. Alexander, are you with us?
Yeah. I think so.
You had a lot of fun in the Azatec car. So how's the race going for the 585 so far?
So far, I would say it's going quite good. Sadly, I made a dumb mistake on the second to last lap. That cost us a lot of time, but yeah, other than that, the pace is definitely there.
I'm sorry to say, but the replay did show it. But I mean, of course it would. And so it's now Alicio in the car. You've got about a 16-second gap to close in on Glam Racing at the moment, but it's very much the battle of the Audis so far. When are you coming back to the car during the race, or are you now done for the day?
I will come back a little bit more later, probably towards the night. So, yeah, I will be in again.
Excellent stuff. And when you approach an event like this, the likes of you and Alicio, do you just concentrate on how well you can get to where you're going as a team, or is there a little bit of driver rivalry? Do you try and get the better lap time in a session than Alicio does?
Of course, you will always try to see if you can be the best. I think Alicio actually just did beat my time, so already there it's him leading. But yeah, no, it's mostly about winning, and then we can look after the race on who was the better.
Awesome stuff. Now, in the championship, of course, your main rival, CKR, isn't here. So that it's going to change the face of the championship. But Glam Racing aren't far behind. They're only 6 points behind. Do you ever think about that sort of thing? Or do you just concentrate on getting the best you can in any one event? Do you ever kind of think about, if I make a mistake, this could change the championship?
Oh yeah, I've definitely been thinking a lot about that. I know Glam Racing is a really fast team as well, not to be underestimated, and we definitely went into this race thinking, okay, we are not gonna try to make any mistake and just see if we can win this race and beat these guys. Great
stuff. Well, thank you very much for spending the time to come and have a chat to us. It's very, very much appreciated. And we will look forward to having a chat to you as the event goes on. Thank you very much, Alexander Zasha.
Hey.
Very much appreciated. It's great to catch up with our drivers and seeing who does what. Our LMP2 pair are still arguing. And Alex is right. Alicia Neto did indeed beat Alex's time of 30.788. Is now the team best and class best as well. So Alicia Neto doing a great job in the 585 Audi to close in on Jakub Kowalski for the GT3 lead. It's got about 13.4 seconds-ish to close in. But our LMP2 pair are now... they're swapping round because has Darius just made a mistake or was he coming to the bits? No, they've swapped round. So let's see what's happening there. There they are. That's how they swap round. So whilst we were chatting to Azatec, Nakib Aslan managed to get the inside line coming down to Tacito Delago on Darius Andre. So those two, they've swapped round again. So whilst we were concentrating on... there we go. They've swapped round again repeatedly. So Nakib Aslan and Darius Andre are having a great old scrap for the LMP2 lead. And of course, the more they do that, the more they're allowing Damien Scovron to eat into the gap, as Nakib Aslan did when Deuces and Burst were having an argument. So last time around, Damien Scovron was 2 seconds quicker, well, 1.5 seconds quicker than than these two. So you expect all three of our LMP cars to be having a great scrap at some point in this race. Certainly these two are really enjoying having a good argument. And Damien's not that far behind either. So is Nakib going to make him... is Darius going to make a move this time around? No, that's how the lead changed. Now, the picture-in-picture is where they currently are. That's how the lead changed in the main image. So that was a big banzai move on the inside of turn one. So the picture-in-picture is live. The main picture is a replay. And Nakib just slammed the door shut on Darius. But the lead did change. Oh, and a bit of a tap on the tail there between the two cars. Now Darius got alongside Nakib on the run up towards Larangina. Unfortunately, we lost the replay there. Apologies for that. But that was the real great battle that was going on between those two at the time. And there's still very little distance between them as we see Jesper Pedersen serve a pit stop in the number 18 car. Steady up. There's the LMP2 pair. So Darius now still behind just the 79 axle car. And the gap back to the burst car is this is where we got up to in the replay. So now Darius did get the move done, and the burst car, the Juices car is slightly ahead. But as we saw, Nakib did indeed get the move back done again to reclaim the LMP2 lead. Oh, the replay got stuck there, so apologies there. But that's where Nakib was back in the lead, and that's how he returned the favour to the number 15 car. And they're still less than a second apart. There's Jesper Pedersen leading the DPI class. Now it does look like Nakib is able to just stretch his legs a little bit. There we go. The Azatec Audi in between the two. But one tiny mistake from Nakib, again, very easily done, especially in the second sector where LMP2, the number 21, does seem to be very, very loose. As we see the other burst car of Jesper Pedersen. Someone's caught a yellow flag. Oh, Ricardo Pera in the 53 Mustang Pescara car, somewhere around turn one, has it caused a yellow flag. Oh, this is a replay again of our LMP2. So it is unbelievably close. It is. That's a small mistake there from Darius Andre. A little bit of a fleck up of dust from Nakib Aslan. That's live now, so it's now just over a second. It did climb to about 1.4 between the two. It's now 1.1 between Nakib Aslan and Darius Andre, as they've got a few more back markers to deal with. That is the ID Sim Sport car and the Glam Racing car. So the Glam car being driven by Jakub Kowalski, and the ID Sim Sport car being driven still by Michael Pedersen. Oh, that's getting a bit close. There was a slight impediment there on Nakib Aslan, but taking to the grass, Darius Andre, making sure he gets past the GT cars without colliding into them. Cool, that was close. My goodness me. But still, the LMP2 lead belonging to Sam 9 Axel. And now, well, actually, in fairness, I was going to say that Damien Scovron in the burst car, his progress towards E2 is certainly slowed down, but it's still going on. He's still the quicker of the 3 LMP2 cars at the moment. And there's Michael Pedersen with the Glam car actually putting a lap on him. So Pedersen needs to get out of the way there, as they're not on the same lap as Jakob Kowalski gets out from the tail end of the Blue Aston. There's the Azatec Audi. It's second place in the GT3s. Alicia Neto now driving that one. We spoke to Alex Escher previously on. There is the Juices car. Darius Andre starting to lose a little bit of ground on Akib Naslam, but not too much. So that gap has grown a little. They come down in towards turn 1. It's hovering between a second and a second and a half as they come through braking zones. Oh, there's the DIS Sim Racing Lab Porsche, still leading the GTEs by about a minute or so, or just under, actually about 51 seconds between themselves and Joel Barbosa in the Deuces number 74. So still a bit of lead there, but again, that's probably down to a pit stop difference. As good as they've been, they haven't been quite that much faster, to be fair. That's just a pit stop strategy difference. As that gap is now just over 2 seconds. So there has been a bit of a mistake from Darius Andre. He probably got caught slightly behind the DIS car, who was just someone minding his own business. But that's allowed that gap to go up to over 2 seconds now. And see how they're able to counteract, or if they're able to counteract that. This just further accentuates how well Rakib Aslan's done from starting at the back of the grid to now lead the class with the class fastest lap as well. And let's have a look. Who else should we have a look at? Artem Shulev in the number 17 Unison car. The second of our DPI cars. 21.9, so a little bit off the pace of Peter Vakapov, who had that car previously. There is Artem. He's now staring at the back of the GTE leader, the DIS car, who's been very much minding his own business. In the 31.1s is the GTE Porsche, which has been, looking at the lap times, that's been the fastest GTE car out there. So they're very much minding their own business and continuing to build the lead. They have to about 54 seconds over Joao Barbosa in the 74 Deuces Motorsports car. Last time around for them was a 31.761. And still, the DIS car is the only GT car to be in the 29s at this stage in the race. And there it is, just as I mentioned it, there it is. Artem Shulev is now got to find a way past it. There's no point the Unison car doing anything silly. Try and get past the Porsche. You know, it's got insanely much more power and grip than the Porsche does. So he didn't need to worry about trying to force his way past. And along his merry way he goes. Another lap complete for the DIS car as we are fast approaching the bottom of another hour. So 2.5 hours. Now down is Jesper Pedersen, nearly introduces himself very, very harshly to Michael Pedersen there. And there is Alicia Neto in the Azatec car, who's still doing his best to try and close in on Jakub Kowalski, which he has been doing. Last time around, about half a second favour to the 585 Azatec Audi. 7.5 seconds, give or take, between the two Audis now. Let's see what the lap times were. 32.3 for Kowalski, a 33 dead for Alicia Neto. So now the 7/10 going back towards the favour of Glam Racing. As we hit 2.5 hours complete, let's have another word from our commercial sponsors.
The 2022 Endurance eRacing World Championship brought to you in partnership with Viper Gaming by Patriots, Azatec Sim Sports, Global Flix, Motorvision.tv, Stengolm, ESTV and Film Vault Limited.
Just think about the fun things you do online. Diving into movies you love. Shopping. Enjoying free Wi-Fi with your morning coffee. Wait, who's that guy? Meet the Digital Snooper. It can be your internet service provider peeking at what you do online. Or a cyber criminal on a mission to snitch your credit card info. Or a hacker at the next table trying to steal your sensitive data. Uh-oh. But don't worry. NordVPN keeps all these snoopers away. It makes your internet activity private, protects you from accessing dangerous websites, and lets you enjoy your favorite content securely, even while away from home. The best part? It's just a click. Yep, internet security is that easy.
You can get NordVPN today at a 60% discount by visiting gtr24h.org/VPN. For Green is here to help you carbon neutralize your racing. By planting new trees, Racing for Green offers to make your racing carbon neutral. We already have the calculations, contacts, infrastructure, deals and solutions ready for you to easily buy carbon neutral laps on any racetrack. It doesn't matter if you are a racing fan, team owner, driver, sponsor or partner. Anyone can buy CO2 neutral laps in the Racing for Green webshop and trade CO2 emissions for New Forest. Racing for Green.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to round 4 of the EEWC here at Interlagos. And a penalty has been issued. Another one is to the same recipient. Car number 21 has got themselves a stop-go 10-second penalty. For the same reason they got the drive-through penalty. We did say this would happen. Now, Nakib Aslan apparently was going outside the white lines to pass a slower car, but you're still outside the white lines whether you like it or not. So that's a stop-go 10-second penalty for car number 21. He's determined to make the job as difficult for himself as possible, and in he comes. So, of course, you can't do anything in the car. You can't refuel it, can't change tyres. That is a pure penalty, and there we go. He's come to a stop and should get going now. Spot on. And of course puts Darius Andre and the Juices car back into the race lead. This will cost around about 20 seconds, give or take. We think the pit lane loss going through it without stopping is around about 10 seconds or so. So this should drop to around about 15-ish seconds maybe. We'll see what the distance is. 13 seconds, give or take. So but I know that's between Skovron and the leader. No, I beg your pardon. So yeah, Nakib is about 17.5 seconds behind Damien Skovron. who is now up into second, who himself is about 11.5 seconds behind Darius Andre. So now we are going to have to see the 79 Axel car do exactly what it did in the first stint and just absolutely floor it, which could really upset the strategy if they're running light on fuel or pushing the tyres quite hard. You'll have to push the tyres quite hard to regain that, but there's still plenty of time left. We still have just under 9.5 hours to go of this race, so the urge might be, I've got to make up time. You've got to bear in mind how long you have to make that time up. If you do something silly at this stage of the race to make up time and then cost yourself more time in the long run, you haven't lost anything. Let's have a look at some lap times, shall we? Whilst our field continue along their merry way. So, in DPI, the fastest class lap of 1:19.361 sips with the number 18 Burst Esports Simplexity car. As we'll display the graphics showing our DPI competitors, there it is. You can see the fastest lap on the best column, it's so labelled. 1:19.361 for what the 18 car, which is currently being driven by Jesper Pedersen, and Artem Shuleev in the number 17 Unison car. They have the best of 1:19.937, and their last lap 21.2 for Jesper, 21.8 for Artem. But the Unison car does find itself behind the LMP cars. For LMP2s, the fastest class lap just about sits with Naki Baslan in the 21.79 Axel car, but it's very, very close in best lap times between the three. Last time around, it was a 20.967 for Scotland. Oh, they've just crossed the line, actually. It was a 21.033, 21.584 for Darius Andre. And of course, Naki Baslan's just served his stock grid penalty. He's just about to cross the line, actually. 21.105. So some of that will be having exited the pit lane. So give him a bit of due for that, was getting back up to speed, but Damien Scovron for Burst is doing what he can to regain the LMP2 lead. In GTEs, the best lap time sits with, I think it's still with DIS, it is indeed, who now sits second in the GTE tables, with the pit stop still going on. 29.807, the only team to get into the 29s is the DIS car. Joao Barbosa for Juices leads the GTEs overall. Third is Ivan Aguado in the MCM car. Then Ricardo Perez still in the number 53 Musto Pescara Porsche. Michael Pedersen still in charge of the 166 ID Simsport car. We've lost the 717 Unison Racing BMW Nikolai Bezrikov after that incident he was involved with. Sadly, the car is not turning any further. And the GT3 contingent, the fastest lap with them sits with the 585 Azatec car. Alessio Neto in control of that one. He's the one that set that time, 1:30.788. Last time around, I think he was the fastest GT3 with a 31.938. Just as I was saying, he came over the line. He's only 4 seconds behind Jacob Kowalski, so we do have a GT3 lead battle forming, with Karl Liekagaard in the 777 Gadget Husa car, 31.445 best lap for them. So I think we need to be looking at Alessio Neto, the 585 car. Looks like the Audis are going to be having an argument in the next few laps. Actually, right on cue. They've just gone through the shot. Initially the 404, the purple car comes through. Now riding on board with Alessio Neto. The car directly ahead is not the car he's directly targeting. The next one down the road is the one he wants. That's the Gadget Husa car, so they're about to put a lap on it. Again, it's always confusing, the Gadget Husa cars, because it's red on one side and blue on the other. So the three GT3s are actually right with one another on track. It's just the Gadget Husa cars are not on the same lap as the Audis. It's a bit of a shame. Oh, that's the Corvette kicking up some dust, coming down towards Jinshan. But certainly Neto has been the quickest of the GT3s for quite a number of laps, and he's bringing that gap down very, very nicely. So we are going to see a lead battle in GT3, or potentially, it really depends how hard they fight at this stage in the race. As through came, that was Jesper Pedersen in the lead burst car. I've had a message. Wow, Maria from Glam Racing has just said, but he will not get us. Mwahaha. Whoa, bold statement from Glam Racing. Love it. Love it, love it. Jacob Kowalski, you got some pressure from up top. You know, you've got to keep, you've got to keep everybody behind, frankly. But, well, in fairness, the Azatec car has been closing in. But we'll see. It's all good being able to close in on your competitors. It's being able to pass them that is the important part. So, our three GT3s are fairly close together, but not in terms of position, as we've mentioned. Kowalski could really use the rear gunner services of the Corvette at the moment. Carl Ikegaard, depends who's he on better terms with, Glam Racing or Azatec. We will see. There's one, there's two, there's three. Jakob Kowalski kicks up an old big amount of dust straight into the face of Carl Ikegaard, coming through and past Jun Xiao. And let's have a look at the lap times this time around between the two Audis primarily. 32.2 for Kowalski, 31.7 for Neto. Well, half a second gain for the 585 car. I hate to say it, Maria, but you may well be forced to change that stance. That is true, but no matter what, you'll get at least third. Of that you are guaranteed, my dear. Of that you are guaranteed, but plenty of time for things to play out. We will see how well Alessio can do in challenging for the GT3 lead. Meanwhile, our GTE, former frontrunner, the ID Simsport car, the DIS Sim Racing Lab car, 31.831 for them last time around, couple of tenths off the last lap of Joao Barbosa in the now GTE leading 74 Juicy's car, 11.3 seconds as they came through, or as the Porsche came through the City de Largo. There is Joao Barbosa, a gorgeous Aston Martin. Now, he's just gained a couple of tenths last time around. 30.404 is the team best so far in the Aston. I'm a little surprised, actually, the Aston is doing as well as it is. I did not think that it would suit well here in Interlagos, but I'm being proven wrong. Glad to see. Back on board with Alessio Neto. Hasn't gained an awful lot on the back of the Corvette, in fairness. But he was still a couple of tenths quicker than Kowalski was. And obviously a couple of tenths quicker than Ikegaard was. But still some distance behind. Won't be getting any kind of slipstream. Now under 3 seconds between the two Audis now. But as soon as Neto gets into the slipstream of the Corvette is when you'll see him start to really close in that gap. At the moment, Alessio Neto's just biding his time. He's still pushing on. It's quite clear that he's not just being slow, but it's very easy to overdrive when you can see the person you're chasing right ahead of you. You know, the whole, the bigger the carrot kind of story, the harder you'll chase it. More dust being kicked up into the air. Yeah, who's going to peel off into the pit and ruin this battle? How many times has that happened? Certainly, yeah, Alessio Neto does have his pit marker on, but is he going to obey it? We've seen that before, where they've put their pit marker on but not gone in. Nah, like so, did not come in this time around. He's changed his mind on that. I've been caught out by that too many times. His pit crew aren't going to be ready for him when he does come in, so that is going to cost him time in the pit stops. So or potentially cost him time in the pit stop. How much? Who knows? Interesting that Liquiard is just staying there. He's utilising the slipstream. The problem kind of is he would need to gain an entire lap to actually be involved in this battle, but it's a shame in a way because he's clearly got the pace to stay right with Kowalski. But is that because Kowalski is not pushing as hard as he potentially could? We don't know. We don't entirely know what strategy that Glamrock have got into play. He could be just biding his time, could be just going at the Glam... I knew I'd do that. Glam Racing. I've had Glamrock in my head all day. They've been called worse, I'm sure. But Glam Racing, Glam Rock Racing, yeah, we'll combine the two. Why not? If you now, if I say that, you'll know who I'm on about. The 404. I think that was a Corvette that kicked up that big amount of dust there. It's Alessio Neto, 1.5 seconds as they come over the ridge from Junshao. Let's see what the lap times are this time. So 32.4 for Kowalski, a 31.7 for Neto, but that's not going to help. Really uncomfortable run through turn one. Nice, Truth! And a wild Artem Shulev appears. That was close. Crikey. Alessio Neto could have struck a match on the side of the car, and my goodness me, nearly takes the Glam Racing car with him. Wow. That was very, very close. Now, Alessio would have known, I would think, that the Unison Racing DPI was coming up, but of course we can't see it from this particular view. We've got no rear view mirrors. We don't have anyone spotting for us. So just suddenly this car appears out of nowhere. There is the Glam Racing 404. Jakob Kowalski with the Corvette acting as a bit of a buffer to Alessio Neto, but strictly speaking, Carl Liquigard will be under blue flag conditions now. He will have to get out of the way fairly soon. It's a shame that these three GT3s aren't actually fighting for position. Because wouldn't that be fantastic? Just 3 GT3s taking part in this race and all 3 of them fighting for position. That'd be brilliant. But sadly, the Corvette is the one that's out of position. Let's see what happens here. 31.5 for... Oh, no, beg your pardon, that's too well, Barbosa. 32.6 for Kowalski. 32.6 as well for Liquigard. 32.3 for Alessio Neto. So, didn't get an awful lot. Now, at this point, Carl Liquigard should really be getting out of the way. And not just for the DPIs and LMPs coming past. That's the burst car that's just gone through. Damien Skovron. It doesn't look like Liquigard's wanting to go out of the way. And you see that Liquigard's using the triple monitor setup there. Oh, there he goes. He bled out of the throttle and passed when the Azatec car. So now it really is a battle between Kowalski and Neto without the Corvette in the way. And Carl Liquigard's done a good job to only be allowed down after 3 hours, considering those are not convinced the Corvette is naturally suited to a track like this. So the Gadget Huset team have done pretty well between Liquigard and Seas Harvey to maintain the pace they have done, but it's very much been a day of the Audis for the GT3 class, which I'm not surprised about at all, as this is a great track to accentuate the advantages of the German mark. Less than a second between the two Audis now. Alessio Neto for Azatec Sim Sports and Jakob Kowalski for Glam Racing in the 404. It's kind of ebbing and flowing around about a second now. But again, Neto a few tenths quicker as the tail gets loose, coming down through turn 1 and through the center S's. Oh, you don't want to be binning it though at this stage. He's just out of range to be gaining slipstream. He's around about it is a second, strictly speaking, but it's 8 tenths when you already notice it. As through comes the Sem 9 Axel car, Darius Andre, no, beg your pardon, that's Damien Skovron in the second place No, it's not. It's 79 Axel. That's Naki Baslan. I'm muddling up everyone's name. Naki Baslan, bearing in mind he's had a 10-second stop-go penalty, is now leading the LMP2s again by nearly a minute, and that will be down to pit stops, of course, but you can't take it away from the raw pace that he's had. Now, what is Neto going to do? Now, is Eliseo Neto going to stay in the tyre tracks of his fellow Audi? Unlikely from what we've seen leading up to this stage. Replay here of Eliseo. Oh no, it's not, big button. That's so that's our GT3 contingent on the left-hand side, and there's our DIS former GTE leader. Now only 4.5 seconds, or just under that, behind Joao Barbosa and the Deuces number 74. So the GTEs are potentially, or the GTE leaders, I should say, are potentially gathering for a bit of an argument themselves. Ooh. Oh, that looked like Likegaard got a little bit squiggly coming through turn one. He may have been a little bit put off by the next car, which will be, I think that's Tom Olmeninger. Oh, that's Naki Baslan. He's brought his car into the pits. Tom Olmeninger now in charge of the number 94 burst car. Oh, there's a bit more dust being kicked up. No, he's not close enough this time to make any kind of move, is Neto. And how long is Naki Baslan going to be in the pit lane for? It looks like it's another tyre change. There's Neto right under the rear wing of the Glam Racing Audi. Yep, 53 seconds for Naki Baslan, still in the number 21 car. He was the starting driver for it, and he's still there. He hasn't handed the toys over, and now is at the back of the LMP2 field as a result. What have we got here? That's where face full of dust was kicked up there from Kowalski for Neto to enjoy that. And that loop's a bit odd, I find. I've never seen anything used. I think it's either stock cars or bikes that use that kind of odd loop part just after Jun Shao. Over the line once again for our GT3s. And within a tenth of a second as their respective lap times. Oh, not another penalty for the 21 car. No, but I haven't been informed of it. But I can see on the timing screen, it does look like he's been given a penalty. That might be an automatic one. If he's done enough cut tracks, then the server will give him a penalty automatically rather than race control doing it. So, oh, more dust being kicked up. Need to keep it on the road. Kowalski. Doesn't look like Neto has got an answer at the moment, but it has taken him this long to get into that position. Again, that's not a disrespectful comment, just that's how close the pace has been. And the car may feel very, very different when it's in battle rather than in clean air. He's now got all the dirty air coming off the back of the Glam Racing 404, rather than just lots and lots of clean air that he can enjoy and keep his very heavy right foot down. No change in the GT3. It's just every opportunity that Jacob Kowalski can to kick up some dust to try and put Eliseo Neto off is exactly what he's doing. Now this is an opportunity for Neto to try and challenge for the top spot. And again, he's just not gaining enough to be able to challenge. At the moment, Kowalski has got an answer for Neto, or Neto is biding his time. Again, we don't know. We have no idea what strategy that they're putting in. No, Kowalski, that got loose. Going through turn one, or looked like from that angle they got very, very loose. Now, there is an element of slide that goes on as the Corvette, you can see, is just beginning to fall away from the back of the Audis. Carl Likegaard's hung on to that slipstream as long as he could. I think it's going to start to fall away. Oh, I thought he was going to barrel into the back of the Aztec car there. It's that gap just loitering between 2 and 3 tenths between the two Audis. So this is just Eliseo hovering behind Kowalski, keeping the pressure on. Oh, having a look on the inside line coming into the S's, but no, can't commit to that. What about our GTEs? Yes, there we go. There's the DIS car. Getting very, very close to Joel Barbosa. Close indeed. So 2 battles. Our GT contingents are giving us the battles for the lead, and I can't believe this. We're 5 minutes away from commercial break, and yet again we've got battles. So we have, you know, some time off from battles, and then half an hour later, because that's the rough gap between our planned commercial stops, is when we have another fight going on. It's giving me plenty to shout about. I'm not arguing that, as Neto looks like he got very loose behind Kowalski there. Coming down through the center S's. Surely this is an opportunity now for the 585 to get ahead of the 404. Side by side, not quite. Coming down towards the seat of the Largo. Is Neto going to try and banzai that one? He's had a look. He can't commit. The door gets closed in his face. That's going to help keep Leakegaard in that particular part of the circuit, but not in this battle, sadly, as he is a lap down from the 2 ahead of him. As the picture-in-picture shows how close the DIS car is to Joel Barbosa in the Juices car. So the GTE battle is of a similar distance, actually, as the DIS Porsche has been closing in slowly but surely on the 74 Aston. So what a great amount of battling we've got going on here. Thoroughly enjoying this. And we're not up to the point of the commercial break yet. We will hold that off if we've got, or hold it off for a few minutes if we've got some great battle, which we have had several times in our broadcast so far. We were nearly a quarter of the way through the race, nearly 3 hours down in this quarter of the way through. Can't even add up. Oh, it was right. See, my brain is actually doubting myself. We are a quarter of the way through, or just about to be. Fantastic stuff. But it does, like, I wonder if Neto's biding his time. I wonder if Alessio Neto's just not wanting to send himself up for counter-attack to Kowalski. It looks like he's just hovering behind rather than unable to make the move. He's now just biding his time. That's what I get the impression of, unlike the DIS car behind Barbosa. That looks like a great battle going on. Well, they're both decent battles, but I get the feeling Neto's not trying to force the issue. He wants to force a mistake, which at this stage in the race you can totally understand. 9 hours still to go. We're not in the final few laps. If we were getting close to the checkered flag, I would expect to be seeing punch and counter punch going on, which, judging by how close we've seen these cars time and time again, we are going to have when the checkered flag is close to falling. As all DIS Struth alive, that's getting very close. You've got, is that Sem 9 Axel Burst? They're very similar liveries from the front. That's Sem 9 just coming past. Naki Baslan, following his last penalty, has just worked his way past them. Oh, now the Porsche versus Aston, as well as Audi versus Audi. Difficult to know which one to look at because they're both very close. Trying to keep an eye on both of them. Now, what is the DIS car going to do? Again, we're not certain who's in it at any given time. We don't get the heads up on that one. Unfortunately, as the tail gets loose on the Porsche, that could compromise his attempt to get past the Aston Martin coming down towards turn 1. Can't do it this time, or can he? He's closed back in on Joao Barbosa. Is he going to have a look on the inside line? Does Barbosa defend it? He does. Forces the Porsche to the outside line as Neto has to let through one of the DPIs. That's Artem Shuleyev. Ooh, bit of a kick up a dust there from the 404 car. Oh, DIS being forced to the outside line. Coming down towards the City de Largo. Can he get it to slow down? He does indeed. What a move from the DIS Porsche. It's not often you see an outside manoeuvre going through there, and that's exactly what he's managed to do. This is it again. You see the picture is the GT3 he's having an argument. Well, what a move. I wonder if Barbosa braked a bit early there because his line would have been compromised. The Porsche just able to brake that a little bit later than the Aston Martin. Fantastic effort. Well done. As the GT3 still all bunched together at this stage in the race. I have no idea on pit stop strategy at this stage, who's due in and what have you. as that's the burst car coming through, I think. No, was that the Sem 9 car? No, it'd be the Sem 9 car coming through. And in comes the Glam Racing 404. So that battle has finally relented. As now it'll be up to Neto, if he's got anything left in the tank, to absolutely floor it, to try and do an overcut on the 404. So we'll see if that's what he's able to do. And that gap does look like it's in DIS's favour. So I think it's now safe to cut to commercial. So let's have a word from our commercial sponsors.
The 2022 Endurance eRacing World Championship brought to you in partnership with Viper Gaming by Patriots, Aztec Sim Sports, Global Flicks, Motorvision.tv, Sten Goldman, ESTV, and Film Vault Limited.
Just think about the fun things you do online. Diving into movies you love. Shopping. Enjoying free Wi-Fi with your morning coffee. Wait, who's that guy? Meet the Digital Snooper. It can be your internet service provider peeking at what you do online, or a cyber criminal on a mission to snitch your credit card info, or a hacker at the next table trying to steal your sensitive data. Uh-oh. But don't worry. NordVPN keeps all these snoopers away. It makes your internet activity private, protects you from accessing dangerous websites, and lets you enjoy your favorite content securely, even while away from home. The best part? It's just a click. Yep, internet security is that easy.
You can get NordVPN today at a 60% discount by visiting gtr24h.org/VPN. Racing for Green is here to help you carbon neutralize your racing. By planting new trees, Racing for Green offers to make your racing carbon neutral. We already have the calculations, contacts, infrastructure, deals and solutions ready for you to easily buy carbon neutral laps on any racetrack. It doesn't matter if you are a racing fan, team owner, driver, sponsor or partner. Anyone can buy CO2 neutral laps in the Racing for Green webshop and trade CO2 emissions for New Forest. Racing for Green.